Vidya Prakashan Mandir Private Limited.
A very good morning to all the students of class 5th. Dear student, today we will study the 7th chapter of social science named as the land of ice and snow. Dear student, we will study this chapter from the book Our Land, Our World, which is a book of social science. So, dear student, let's move ahead to understand this chapter. So, dear student, very first you should know what are the learning objectives of this chapter, what you will learn in this chapter. So, dear student, and as I am sharing my screen with you, these are the learning objectives of the chapter. So, in this chapter, we will learn about regions of the land of ice and snow. We will learn about location. We will learn about land surface. We will learn about climate, vegetation, animal life, life of the people in the region of land of ice and snow, occupation, and recent changes. So, these are the learning objectives of the chapter. Let's understand the chapter. Very first, as I am highlighting it, beyond the temperate region, towards the pole lies the cold or frost zone. There are two cold regions. Number one, Arctic region. Number two, Antarctic region. So there are two types of cold region. Number one, Arctic region. Number two, Antarctic region. So very first we will understand about Arctic region. So it consists of the Arctic Ocean, thousands of islands including Greenland and the northern parts of the continent of Europe, Asia and North America. Arctic region is again divided into two parts. Number one, polar region. Number two, tundra region. Dear student, in the polar region, the ice never melts. In the whole year, the ice never melts. So it is very frigid zone. It is very cold zone. In the tundra region, it is covered with ice in winter, but there is no snow or ice in short summer. So, dear student, here we take as an example for the study of polar region and tundra region together at this primary level. Dear student, as I am also highlighting you this picture. So, dear student, this is the region of Arctic and Antarctic circle. These are the region. This is the pictorial part of Arctic circle. This is the pictorial part of Antarctic circle. So, dear student, let's understand polar region and life of tundra region. So, very first we will understand the location. So, dear student, as I am again highlighting it, Greenland lies to the northeast of Canada. It extends from 60 degree north to 80 degree north latitude. It is closer to the North Pole than any other land. Its northernmost point is only 650 km from the North Pole. Greenland lies in the Arctic Ocean. Dear student, Atlantic Ocean lies to the south of Greenland. It is the biggest island of the world. Which island? Atlantic Ocean lies to the south of Greenland, which is the biggest island of the world. It is about 2,680 kilometers long and 1,280 kilometers wide. Let's understand second learning objective of the chapter, that is land and surface. Let's understand it. So the land surface of the Greenland is mountainous. The Iceland called Greenland, but nothing is green here. So जो आइसलैंड है उसे हम क्या कहते हैं, ग्रीनलैंड कहते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पर कुछ भी ग्रीन नहीं होता. The whole land looks white with ice. जो पूरा लैंड है वो कैसा होता है, व्हाइट दिखता है. क्यों दिखता है, बिकॉज ऑफ आइस. वहां पर इतनी आइस होती है कि उसकी वजह से वो पूरा व्हाइट दिखता है. Except for the narrow coastal strips, about 9/10 of the Greenland is covered with thick ice and snow all through the year. This covering of ice is called ice cap. Which is called ice cap? In the whole year, Greenland is covered with thick ice and snow all through the year. मोटी आइस होती है पूरे ग्रीनलैंड में, पूरे साल होती है, और ये जो कवरिंग आइस होती है इसे हम आइस कैप कहते हैं. In some places, the covering of ice is much as 3 kilometers thick. कुछ एरिया में 3 किलोमीटर तक thick ice होती है. The weight of the ice cap is so great that a large mass of ice begins to move slowly down the mountain slopes. These slow moving ice masses are called rivers. तो जो आइस मेल्ट होती है, आइस के मैसेस मेल्ट होते हैं, वो क्या होते हैं, रिवर्स ऑफ आइस होते हैं. आइस की नदियां, बर्फ की नदियां कहते हैं उन्हें, या फिर क्या कहते हैं उन्हें, ग्लेशियर्स कहते हैं. क्या होते हैं ग्लेशियर्स? The weight of the ice cap is so great that a large mass of ice begins to move slowly down the mountain slope. जो माउंटेन की ढलान होती है उसके थ्रू नीचे आते हैं. These slow moving ice masses, ये जो धीरे धीरे नीचे को मूव करते हैं, वो masses जो आइस के ब्रिक्स होते हैं उन्हें हम क्या कहते हैं, आइस, रिवर ऑफ आइस, आइस की नदियां या फिर ग्लेशियर्स कहते हैं. When they reach near the sea, जब वो नदी की समुद्र के किनारे पहुंचते हैं, huge pieces of ice break with a roar and fall into the sea. So this is all about land surface. Let's understand ahead. So these huge pieces of ice floating in the sea and looking like hills are called ice bridge. So, dear student, these huge pieces of ice floating in the sea and looking like hills are called iceberg. So, dear student, this is very important that you should know what is iceberg. So, huge pieces of ice which is floating sea and looking like hills are called iceberg. So, dear student, let's move ahead. Only 1/10 of iceberg is above sea water. Icebergs are seen as much as 300 meter above sea water and 2700 meter below water. These icebergs are dangerous to ship because they are much bigger below the water than they appear on the surface. Dear student, they gradually decrease in size by sun, warmer water, current waves and rains. Dear student, as you all know, tourists came to Jakobsund to see these icebergs. So, dear student, as I am removing it, so let's move ahead to understand climate. Dear student, the climate in the green severally cold. It never rains here. There are only 2 types of season, as you can see in my screen, in winter and summer. It is always night time during the winter. but it is not totally dark. It is gloomy or dusky light because the sun always remains at the horizon. You can even read a book in it. तो यहाँ का क्लाइमेट कैसा होता है? बहुत ज्यादा डार्क नहीं होता है. कैसा होता है? ग्लूमी और डस्की लाइट होता है. इतनी लाइट होती है कि आप कोई किताब पढ़ सकते हैं. The winter are long and cheery. Chilly winds blow at a speed of over 160 किलोमीटर पर आवर. जो हवाएं होती है वो किस स्पीड में ब्लो करती है? 160 किलोमीटर पर आवर. सो डियर स्टूडेंट, कैसा रहता है बाकी आगे का क्लाइमेट? इन द समर, as I am highlighting it, in the summer there is continuous daylight for 2 or 3 months. The sun is always above the horizon. The sun shines even at midnight. So this part of the earth is called the land of midnight sun. इस एरिया को क्या कहते हैं? इस पार्ट को क्या कहते हैं? बिकॉज यहाँ पर मिडनाइट में भी सनशाइन करता है, इससे इस पार्ट को लैंड ऑफ द मिडनाइट सन बोला जाता है. डिस्पाइट द सनलाइट, द टेम्परेचर रेयरली राइज अबव द फ्रीजिंग पॉइंट. In summer, the coastal area is free from ice and snow. Dear student, this is all about climate. Let's understand vegetation. What is vegetation here? So, dear student, the climate is too cold for plants to survive. However, some low-growing and scattered plants are found here. Some herbs come up in the summer and die out in the winter. Brightly colored flowers are to be found even in the farthest north during the week of summer. The southwest coastal region of the Greenland is in the tundra region. During the short summer, a number of small plants spring up and flourish. These plants include grasses, wildflowers, small shrubs, bushes on which sweet berries grows. Flowerless plants are lichen are very common here. All these plants are an important source of food for aquatic animals. तो ये जो plants होते हैं, ये जो flowers होते हैं, ये arctic region के जो animals होते हैं, उनके लिए खाने का एक source होते हैं. So this is all about the vegetation of arctic region. So let's understand the next learning objective of this chapter, which is animal life. So let's understand it. So let's discuss animal life. Dear student, the animal life of this region is rich while the plant life is not so much. The main land animals are Caribbean, musk ox, polar bear, reindeer, dog, beaver, fox and wolf. So these animals are live in polar region and Arctic region. These animals are protected against the cold by a thick fur and a heavy layer of fat under the skin. So the color of Arctic hair changes with the season. It is brown in the summer and white in the winter. Thus, it keeps its color looking like the environment. Dear student, musk ox has a long shaggy coat almost touching the ground. Most important of these animals is reindeer. So, let's move ahead. It is kind of deer with several horns. The coastal area of the Greenland provides a home to millions of birds. Arctic tern makes its nest in the northern part of Greenland. With the onset of winter, it flies 1700 kilometers right across to the regions close to the South Pole. Every summer, millions of ducks, geese, and waders come here to nest and feed. The sea is rich of seals, walrus, and whales. Dear student, let's understand the next learning objective of the chapter, which is life of the people. What kind of life they are dealing here? So the population of Greenland is very small. About 50,000 people live in the whole Greenland. Most of them live in the southern part of the Iceland along the coast. The native people of Greenland are called Eskimos. The word Eskimo means raw meat eater. What is the meaning of Eskimo? Eskimo means raw meat eater. They are short and stout with straight black hair, narrow black eyes, and brown skin. Dear student, Eskimos get their food and clothing mainly from seal. Seal lives under water but comes up to breathe and get hunted. Dear student, let's move ahead and understand life of the people. So Eskimo make their clothes from the skin and fur of animals. They wear trousers and jackets and long lost boots. Their jackets और coats have hoods to cover their head. उनके जो कोट होते हैं, उनके जो जैकेट्स होते हैं, उनके पीछे जो है कैप बना रहता है, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? हुड्स बोलते हैं. There are bigger hoods attached to women jackets. This protect their young babies while they are at work. This jacket with hood is called a parka. Eskimos make their house from shot. Dear student, shot is the top layer of soil consisting of stony earth and roots. These are known as shot house. Where there is no stones, the Eskimo build dome steps house out of hard-packed block of ice. So, dear student, this is all about life of the people. Let's understand occupation. Let's understand occupations. So, dear student, Eskimos depend on animals of their tools, cloth, shoes, boats, fuels and foods. Therefore, fishing and hunting are main occupation here. क्या है यहाँ का main occupation? Fishing or hunting. Their main hunting weapon is called harpoon. What is harpoon? Their hunting weapon. Hunting weapon is called harpoon. Harpoon is a spear with a long rope of leather attached to it. The spear has a sharp tip made of stone or animal bone. A hunter can throw a harpoon across a distance and use the rope to pull back the hunted animal. Dear student, they hunt polar bears and hare on land of their meat and fur. So, let's understand more about occupation. So, Eskimos hunt sea animals such as seals, whales, cod and fish called salmon with their weapon which is called harpoon. They cut a round hole in the ice on the top of frozen river or the edge of the sea. When a seal or other animals come up for air, the Eskimo attack it with his harpoons. Eskimos use sleds for bringing their big hunt. Sleds for wheelless carts which are drawn either by reindeer or dogs. The sleds are used for carrying other goods and children also. Dear student, Eskimos make small boats of seal skin stretched over a boat frame. These are called kayaks. These are called kayaks. They use them for hunting sea animals. Dear student, this is very important which you should know. So let's move ahead to know more about recent changes. So let's understand. In 1953, Greenland became a part of European country of Denmark. The government of Denmark helped Greenlanders to improve their ways of life. जो डेनमार्क गवर्नमेंट है उन्होंने ग्रीनलैंडर्स की लाइफ को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए हेल्प किया. Greenland achieved self-government in 1979. Now Greenland has all modern facilities of life. Now there are large towns. They have shops, schools, hospitals and clubs. In the biggest town with a population of over 11,000 people. Dear student, Gotha, the capital of Greenland. What is the capital of Greenland? Gotha is a modern center of trade. Air services connect many towns of Greenland with the cities of Europe and North America. So let's move ahead to understand more recent changes. So move ahead. Big ships brings goods of all kinds from other lands. Lives of Eskimos have changed. Many of them live in wooden but modern houses. They have rifles for hunting, motor boats for fishing. पहले वो कैसे हंटिंग करते थे? पहले वो हार्पून के थ्रू करते थे जो एक टूल था फिशिंग के लिए. अब वो कैसे करते हैं? अब उनके पास मॉडर्न हंटिंग के लिए मॉडर्न राइफल्स हैं और मोटर बोट है फिशिंग के लिए. दे इवन एक्सपोर्टिंग फिश एंड फर. दे आर ऑल्सो लर्निंग न्यू ट्रेड्स. कैसे नए वो तरीकों को सीख रहे हैं, कैसे अपने न्यू ट्रेड को डेवलप करें. Some of them work in large oil companies and in the construction of roads. The port towns. So the port of town of, as I am again highlighting it, the port town of Holsteinburg has a large shipyard for ship building. Now Eskimos like to earn their living by other work rather than hunting. So dear student, this is all about chapter 7. Dear student, we will study the 8th chapter of social science in our next class. Dear student, thank you.